Before we jump into today's mailbag video, we're trying to hit 65,000 subscribers here on the channel, so go ahead and subscribe today. The latest Bears news, rumors, draft, and free agency coverage. Plus, once we hit 65,000 subs, it's a time for another live fan-led mock draft. We did it at 60K. It's our promise at 65K. Got to get there before the draft, obviously. Hit that sub button. Let's make it happen. What's up, Bears fans? Harrison Graham here, back with another video here on Chicago Bears Now. It is a mailbag, so use hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We'll answer all of your questions, or at least as many as we possibly can get to. Super Chats get to skip the line. Otherwise, we will answer your hashtag Bears questions. Timothy Keaton with a $10 super says trade back with Tennessee, 9 for Tennessee, first and swap seconds plus Jeffery Simmons, I think he means there. I think you may have to throw an extra pick there, Timothy, to get Simmons, but yeah, there's been some buzz. Could the Bears pull off a trade to get Jeffery Simmons? I certainly am not closed off to that idea. He is a win-now player. He's 25 years old. He's entering his prime. I think he would fit that defensive line very well as a 3-tech. Really can stop the run, really can rush the passer. He plays with a nastiness to him, and the Bears need some more attitude in the trenches. William Bomer, cut Cody Whitehair and draft Luke Wypler. Not opposed. I think if you do cut Whitehair, it would probably be a post-June 1st designation, but we'd have to wait and see. That would save the Bears almost $10 million. If he's pre-June 1, it's like 5.8, but then he's completely off your books next year, so that's the appeal of doing it now. Or you just keep him. Maybe he's your starting center. But Luke Wypler out of Ohio State, I think could be a guy that starts as a rookie. It would depend if the Bears are comfortable going with a rookie starting center. Jacob Kellerman, would you draft a tight end in the 4th or 5th round? Maybe Sam LaPorta. I don't think LaPorta falls that far. I think he's a day 2 guy. I think he's probably 2nd, 3rd round. If he's there in the 4th or 5th, I mean, the value's so good. I think you just have to take him at that point. I could maybe take him in the 3rd if there's a trade back from 64 scenario, or if you're comfortable taking him at 64, but if not LaPorta, I think drafting someone later at tight end makes sense. It's a pretty deep tight end class. Bobby B, should the Bears trade Darnell, Mooney, or Chase Claypool and then draft Jackson Smith and Jigba? I think that would be what would happen if the Bears drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is, for my money, the best receiver in this draft. You look at what the Bears have at receiver right now. Imagine adding JS into this. So you peg down EQ as wide receiver 5 or 6 with Velus Jones, and then you go DJ Moore, JSN, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. One of Mooney and Claypool hits the road in that scenario, I think, because there's just no way to keep 4 starting caliber receivers happy, especially for a team that's going to run the football a lot. Like, they're not going to start running the air raid in Chicago, so I don't think that would make sense. I think you would move Mooney or Claypool since they both have 1 year left on their rookie contracts, and that's really the question here, right? Who you keeping in this scenario if you draft JSN? You're going to keep Darnell Mooney, you're going to keep Chase Claypool. I'd probably rather keep Mooney, but I could see them keeping Claypool because they traded for him. So what do you guys think? Who would you keep? Type DM for Darnell Mooney or type CC for Chase Claypool? Christian with a question, what value do you think we could get for Darnell Mooney? If you're not trading him until after you draft JSN, probably not as much as you would think because he's coming off an injury. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. And teams would kind of look at the situation and be like, well, you don't have the leverage, Chicago, because you have 4 receivers and, you're not going to keep them all. So you'd probably be looking at like a 4th. I think you'd get more than what you got when you drafted him, which you took him in the 5th, but I don't think you'd get a 2nd or 3rd, honestly. Maybe a 3rd, but it'd probably be a 4th. Nicholas Rishi, if we do trade back, would you grab Darnell Wright? He was a really good offensive tackle at Tennessee. What pick would you be comfortable taking him at? I think 9's too rich for Wright, but I do think he's a quality right tackle. That scenario we've discussed of trading down with Pittsburgh to get 17 and 32, like I think 17, you're in the proper range potentially. Maybe he falls to the 20s, but I think top 10's too rich. But beyond 15, like 16 to 31, second half of the first round, I think that's probably the proper value for him. Jess Laseth says we will get 8 to 9 wins, 3-3 in the division, 1-3 versus the AFC West, 2-2 against the South. Win 2 out of 3 versus the Commanders, Cardinals, and Browns gives us 8 wins. Definitely feels like this is a reasonable expectation. Well, something's off here, Jess, because you don't play 2 full AFC divisions. You play 1, and it's going to be the AFC West this year. The way the 17-game schedule comes together is you play 6 games in your division, so that's 6. You play a full AFC division, that's 10. You play 1 other crossover game against the AFC, which I'm drawing a blank on who it is, but it's one of the teams that wasn't good this year. So that's 11. And then you play every other NFC team that finished the same spot you finished in your division. So the Bears would play all the last place NFC teams. So that would be the Commanders, was it the Falcons? Who got last in the NFC South, Rolly? The Falcons, and then the NFC West team who got last, which I'm drawing a blank. I guess the Cardinals. And then there's a couple other games. But you don't play 2 full AFC divisions. You'll play 5 AFC games, AFC West, and 1 other crossover game. And I'm missing a game or 2 there, but you add all that up, and that's your 17-game schedule. So, but yeah, it doesn't mean they can't win in 8 to 9, but just did want to make it clear you're not going to play 2 full AFC. Okay, Jess says NFC South in the chat. So there you go. That's the NFC division they play. 2-2 against that division is more than reasonable. That division stinks. So, yeah, in that scenario, I could see that happening. Okay, Bears draft hats available. Chatsports.com/Bears draft hats. Click that link in the comments and in the description. Check out your favorite styles today. We got flat bills, curve bills, snapbacks, the navy with the orange text, the white with the blue text. We got it all. Go check it out. I think the draft hats this year, some of the best ones I can remember. Definitely better than the last couple of years. Chatsports.com/Bears draft hats. Represent the Bears by getting a draft hat. Chatsports.com/Bears draft hats. Torian Whitfield, teams will have to cut down from 90 to 53 on August 29th. Yeah, that's a new one of the new NFL stipulations this year is you don't go from 90 to 85, 85 to 80, then 80 to 53. It's all at once, 90 to 53. So it'll be interesting to see how teams handle that. They can still cut players earlier if they want to. They're just not required to reach certain stipulations. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get a question in. The Pikey Dyke would love to see a before and after comparison of free agency draft at each position group from you guys and say if it's an improvement or not. That could be an interesting May, June video where it's like, all right, this is what things looked like before. This is how it looks like now. I like that idea. I'll kind of write that down and think about doing that later on. I think that could be a fun video. Oscar Ramos, do you think Alex Leatherwood could start at right tackle? I'm not comfortable entering, the offseason with that being the scenario. I think if you played a game today, he potentially would. The other option would be Tevin Jenkins at right tackle, and then you've got Lucas Patrick at center and Cody Whitehair at left guard and Nate Davis at right guard. But I think Leatherwood needs to continue to develop, work as a backup, and figure out what his best position is, and then maybe down the road he becomes a starter. William Brock, thoughts on Jaden Reed, the Michigan State receiver? I think 3rd, 4th round. Could he sneak into round 2? Maybe. He had a strong Senior Bowl. Talented, can get down the field. It's a deep receiver class in the kind of the 2nd to 4th round range, and he's somewhere in there. I think he's a little further back than some of the other guys, but I do like his talent. Ezra's Art, defensive line at number 9, CB in round 2, and then all offensive line. I mean, yeah, you could try to go that route, but you got to figure out the other tackle, man. I'm not saying that has to be at number 9, but to me, that's not something you can keep pushing, and then, the draft's over, and you're like, wow, we don't have another offensive tackle. I just don't think that's a place to go. So maybe, you got 53, 61, and 64, so you could go defensive lineman at 9, corner at 53, and then 61, 64, a pair of offensive linemen. That could be in the cards. Tech is my life, 101. What do you think about the roughing the passer still not being reviewable? It's a tough one. Let me just first say this. Roughing the passer has gotten out of control. But the last time we tried to go down this road with pass interference, it never really made a difference. The officials kind of just quietly agreed that we're never going to overturn a PI challenge. So why do we think they would overturn roughing the passer? It's a tough one to figure out because the league's trying to make the game safer, but it's not a consistent rule whatsoever. So I don't know what you do about it, to be honest with you. I think it's something they got to figure out. But, yeah, it doesn't appear there's going to be a change this year, which is a bit frustrating. Now, what is your favorite pizza topping? Come on. This is Chi-Town, baby. Favorite topping? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to be reading them. Michael DiPartolo, odds of the Bears going corner at number 9. I'll go 1.37 Smoking Jays. I think there's a decent chance. 25, 30%. I think it's possible. Depends on who's available at the time. Depends on Ryan Pohl's big board. But I think they would be intrigued with getting a corner early for a couple of reasons. One, Kyler Gordon had some moments last year, but he still has some room to grow. And if they're going to keep him at nickel, they need another outside corner. I don't think Jalen Jones or Kendall Vildor or Josh Blackwell should just be given that job. I think getting a corner makes sense to pair with Jalen Johnson on the outside. And the third reason is Johnson's on the last year of his rookie deal, and if they don't extend him, then drafting a corner early could make sense. Christian, would you rather take Deonte Banks or JMS in the second round? Tough question. Really tough question. I think Banks is a little more boom or bust, but if he hits, he could be a CB1 type in the NFL. JMS is kind of the opposite. I think he's going to be just a rock-solid center, so kind of pick your poison there. I might lean JMS just for stability at that center position, but Banks is a freak, man. He's an athletic freak at corner. Stephen Kennedy, keep Mooney because he has chemistry with Fields and give Claypool 9 to 10 games and see if he can improve in the Bears' offense, and if not, trade him, sign Cole Kmet to a long-term deal. Yeah, I mean, in theory that could happen, Stephen, but if you draft JSN, who's your wide receiver 4 to open the year? Is it Claypool? Like, I don't know how realistically you can give him a chance if he's your number 4 receiver because he's not going to get a ton of snaps in that scenario. So that's where the trickiness comes into play. I do agree. I like Mooney more than Claypool. Claypool has more to prove, in my opinion. But if you draft a receiver, I don't really know how that works. As far as Cole Kmet goes, open to it. Would like to keep him. It'll come down to price. There's no doubt about that. Subscribe to Chicago Bears Now. This is where we answer all your questions, get you caught up on the latest news and rumors, draft coverage, free agency. We do it all here on this channel, youtube.com/BearsNow. So hit the sub button, trying to get to 65,000 subs ASAP.